Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. That's why we do the show. F.O.C. final order cutoff. We put our pre-orders in way ahead of time so we can get all the hot books that are coming out on the market weeks in advance, up to a month in advance. If you tuned in last week, thank you guys for showing up. You know I did a massive F.O.C. market update. Here's the crazy thing. I did that show solo. The F.O.C. market update, if you haven't watched that show, you need to check it out. That was only half the list, folks. That was only half the list. I only showed the books that were 400% gains, 500% gains. The biggest books on that list, return on investment, 1,750%, 2,000%. I didn't even bother showing books that would have doubled your money. Let's say, like, there were books on the list, $4 books sold for $8, $10. I didn't even show those. I showed all the books that were selling for $20, $25, $50. The top book of 2023 is still the champ. Dungeons and Dragons, #1. Saturday Morning Adventures, the 1-in-10 ratio. If you got it in a pull box, you got it at cover price, $4. Otherwise, you got it early. Off of my list, $10. $90 was the all-time high. That's still the top selling book of 2023. So, yeah, check out last week's episode, season 2, episode 9. Massive, massive, massive update. As a matter of fact, for those who didn't get a chance to see it, I'll just run a quick clip, and then we're going to jump right into tonight's F.O.C. Top 10. But yeah, last week, I mean, let's just do a quick recap for a few seconds, because this is the reason why you guys come out here, and thank you all who come out here to watch live. Dude, there's so many different things you could be doing. You're here tonight. What's up, John DeBerry? Isabel, what's going on? Tall Dan, what do you say? I got my clipboard ready. Hit me with the knowledge. I like that. Toom. Guys, you need to follow Toom on Instagram. Toom is cut from a different cloth. He has a very unique sensibility of style. He's an artist. You need to check out his Instagram page. Toom, currently listening while I work. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm glad my voice can transmit to you. But if you missed last week's episode, I will show you very quickly what it was all about. Let's get this up there. So this was a market report just off of my F.O.C. top 10 list for 2023. That's all it was. It wasn't any other stuff I pulled from somewhere else. On my list, if you go to my Instagram page, you can see my list. They're all posted. They all have dates, as you say. They all have the receipts. And you can see Strange Academy, 520%. Star Wars, good old Star Wars, 600%. Ambassadors, 625%. 620. So, yeah, I basically kept track of 750%. That was the big book of last week, Extreme Veniverse. Or the past 2 weeks, 750%. So, yeah, last week, if you haven't seen that episode, I strongly suggest you go check it out at your leisure, because it has a list of the top performing books only from my F.O.C. top 10. And that's why I do this show. Now, here's the thing. I don't do this show for like popularity or anything. Honestly, I do it because I love to talk. And I usually talk with other guys like I talk a lot with Astro Wizard. I talk a lot with Dr. Paul. So I figured it would just make sense to do a show so we can talk and you guys can see what it's like for two comic book nerds to really how we converse back and forth. Shout out to MA3 Mo. I talk to him pretty much on a daily basis about comic books. Tomb World. All right, yeah, guys, go check out Tomb World on Instagram. He he's a different cat, man. Tomb, you popped up, I think, on someone else's page or maybe Instagram. Sometimes the algorithm gets it right, and it's like, oh, if you like that, then you need to check this guy out. So Tomb kind of popped up, and I was like, yo, what the hell? I'm like, what is this guy on? But yeah, instantly, I was immediately hooked. He's got his own unique style. You guys got to check it out. Definitely got to check out Astro Wizard. What he does is incredible. He's an artist. He does a lot of remarks on popular books. He's just absolutely incredible. I don't know if he's in tonight. He probably stops in. But we got a great show for you guys tonight. Tonight's list, let me tell you, tonight's list was very top heavy. Is another tough list because I already knew who number 1 was and I already knew who number 2 was. 3 through 8 was incredibly tough, and literally 9 and 10, I didn't know who 9 and 10 were until about 30 minutes before the show started. As a matter of fact, 9 and 10 on this week's list weren't even on the list until the different sources that I use, the page is refreshed. And when the page is refreshed, new information popped up. And I'm like, oh shit, like, where did that come from? And I was like, oh, I got to add that to the list. And I had to take off number 10 got booted and 9 got pushed down and the new book bumped up to 6 and 5. And yeah, it's crazy like that. The behind the scenes from this F.O.C. list is nuts. It's really nuts. It's nothing. And I got to tell you guys, I would actually, so in a dream world, like a perfect scenario, I'm running a comic book store. I'm probably there 10 hours a day. I'm reading comic books. I'm talking about comic books. I'm selling comic books. I'm buying comic books. I'm collecting comic books. And I'm doing this show on location at the shop. That would be like a perfect scenario. That's kind of what I do minus the store. Like, I have a job, I have a life, but then I also do a ton of research. And in all my spare time, I'm compiling all this information and then condensing it into this top 10 list. And honestly, all of this started going back to the pandemic. If you guys remember how it was during the pandemic, there were no comic shops open. There were no new books coming out. I wasn't sure what to do. And I was just going on the internet, seeing what's going on. And I stumbled on this guy's page. I got to show you guys all this before we get into this week's list, because all of this matters for how I ended up here. So I stumbled on this guy's page and I was looking for information to clean books. And I'm going through his shit like, oh, yo, this guy is like the master of cleaning books. Like it was the greatest shit I ever seen in my life. So I spent most of the pandemic like cleaning books and pressing books. I think he had a video on heat pressing. Long story short, I later joined Instagram and I start talking to this guy who keeps popping up. And it turns out it's Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul, as you know, is one of my recurring guests. He's always coming in and doing it. He's going to be on tonight. And you guys, I know you guys love Dr. Paul. He'll definitely be on the show. But yeah, before we jump in, we have 11 people live. I'm hoping all 11 of you can at least hit the like button. At least hit like and go ahead and give me that. If you don't already, you can follow me here All right. This is where I started off at. This is my Instagram page. All right. Everything I talk about on the show, if you don't get a chance to watch it live, on my Instagram page, you can see everything's there. Everything I talk about is there. They're all dated. They all got date stamps. Nothing I do is after the fact. I don't go, once a book gets hot, I don't go and be like, oh, let me sneak that in. Nope. All the receipts are there. You can see everything I talked about, and it just keeps going. You can scroll to my page. As you see, like I date all of the F.O.C. top 10, so they're easy to find if you want to cross reference. I date all of them, and then you can go through the slides like that. So you can already see that came out today. That was my number 9 pick, for example. There you go. The new blade, the JTC variant. So that was my picks back in June 17th. And that's my whole page is made up like that. Also, again, Dr. Paul's going to be on tonight. I strongly encourage that you guys check out his Instagram page as well, because he posts a lot of the information. And there, he on his YouTube page, he posts literally a laboratory of how to. It's actually a masterclass, and I'm trying to convince him to make it a premium. But he's very benevolent and generous and all that nonsense. But again, he gives you quick summaries on his Instagram page. So definitely go check out Dr. Paul and check his page out. And all right, so let's do this because you guys came to see the top 10. So I'm going to do something different tonight. We're going to go ahead and bring in Dr. Paul, and he's going to talk about some stuff. And I'm going to get the top 10 list loaded up, and we're going to have some fun. Let's bring in Dr. Paul. Are you there, Dr. Paul? What's going on?
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Great to
Man,
see
you're
you,
coming through
J-Dub.
loud. You're coming
You
in
looking
loud and clear.
fresh.
Great to have you.
All right. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So, every week is New Comic Book Day, and all the excitement of all the new books, and then the Thursday after I do the F.O.C, kind of riding the wave of the excitement to get ready for books coming down the pipeline later.
Mm-hmm.
And you, sir, are on the other end of the spectrum. You actually specialize in what exactly?
I spend a lot of time with the really old funny books. So we just recently finished a several-month-long project for a book that's almost 80 years old. World War II era.
80?
80. World War II era book. And yeah, I have some Silver Age books on the workbench right now. Most don't deal with much beyond Bronze Age, but occasionally I can clean and press modern books, and I sometimes do, especially when I find them at the in the dollar bins. But yeah, deal with all of it, but mainly focused on the really early stuff. Like you have been collecting a very long time, and when you've been collecting as long as we have, you've seen a lot of things. And to stay excited, you got to go hunt things that you've never seen before.
Right.
So I think in your case, you're hunting the stuff that isn't even out yet, right? So nobody's seen it before.
Exactly.
And that's how you stay excited, right? Because you've seen Hulk 181 a lot of times already. And while it's a cool book, you lose that excitement, that first time excitement, after you've seen it a few dozen times. So I'm looking at books that are 80 years old where maybe there's only 20 copies in the CGC census. So I've definitely never seen it before. And yeah, so I think we have very similar interests, but diverge in where we spend our time with our collecting, which is really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When did you actually start collecting? And for those who are listening live, I want to know put down in the comments about when did you all start getting into comic book collecting? You can either put the year or the age you were when you started. But Dr. Paul, about when did you start collecting?
So we started getting really serious in 1982. Before that, we had a few comics, hand-me-downs. A cousin or a neighbor gave you a comic book, something like that. But we weren't really serious, my brother and I, till 1982. So I was 10, he was 9, and that's when we decided we were comic book collectors, right? We
Wow.
we
Okay.
we got ourselves some boxes, and we started organizing and alphabetizing. I mean, at the time, I still only had about 10 or 12 books, but that's when we decided, right? You, my grandfather would go to the grocery store, and he would, when you leave in those days, they would, it was before plastic. They would just give you paper bags, but they
Right.
would, if you had heavier stuff, they would ask you if you want some boxes, right? And so they would just get boxes that they had used to unpack and stock the shelves with, right? And my grandpa's always got boxes, and so he had this box. It was a box for Stoli's vodka. It was like for 6/5 of vodka, I think. And it turns out it's the perfect width for a comic book. So my very first comic book box was a repurposed Stoli's box, and had that.
Nice.
Took me a few years to fill that one up before I had to go get another. Before I had to go get a long box. So 1982 is the answer.
What were some of your earliest comic books that you really got
Oh,
into?
well, funny. So my brother and I were both really into Chris Claremont X-Men. That was
Yes.
hands down our favorite.
Yes.
We didn't have a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
money. We could only get a couple books a month. So one of the things I like to do was buy the team books, because if you bought Avengers, you kind of got an update of what Thor was doing, what Iron Man was doing,
Yeah.
what the other, like, what was happening in the other books without having to buy them, right?
Right.
So we really liked the team books, but my mom had a rule, again, because we didn't have a lot of money, and so she said you can't both buy the same book, because you have to get different books and then you can read each other's books, right? So your money goes a little further.
Yeah.
And my little brother was just obsessed with X-Men. And I said, fine, you can do X-Men. So I never bought the X-Men. I would find it. If we ran to the 7-Eleven and we were ripping through the spinner rack and I found the X-Men, I would hand it to him. Um, so I gravitated toward New Teen Titans. That was like my big book. So that Marv
Same here,
Wolfman,
man. Yeah.
George Perez. And I'll tell you, I
Same here.
remember I bought issue number 11
Oh wow.
off the shelf, and that was one of my very first sort of, that was, like I said, we had casually bought a few books before that, but that's when we said, okay, we're comic book collectors now.
Wow. Nice,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, for me
George
it was
Perez, baby.
1987.
Mm-hmm.
It was specifically Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21. Do you remember what
Oh,
that issue was?
I think I do. I think
Which one was
that's
it?
I think that's first Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Um,
No?
guys in the comments, if you guys know what
No, that's
ASM,
16. 21?
yeah,
Is
if you guys
21
know
a
what Annual
marriage?
21 was,
All right. I
that
failed the
was.
quiz, apparently.
I,
First
I'm
speedball, first marriage. I don't know.
see, you're getting there. Yeah, it was the wedding.
The wedding. There you go.
Yeah, you just start throwing it. Yeah, no, that Spider-Man and Mary Jane getting married was a big effing deal back in
Yeah.
1987. I think it was. I was 12, 11
And
or 12.
that had an alternate cover.
It
That
did. It
was,
had the
I
villains
think that was the
cover.
first Marvel book to do an alternate cover. DC beat them by a year
Yeah,
with the Superman by John Byrne.
yeah, yeah. That book right there is what got me on this journey. So we're talking for me 30. God, that's a big number. 36 years. That made my brain
Mm-hmm.
hurt. 36 years of collecting comic books. And you and I have spoke about this many times. From 87, I've owned every book that has mattered. And then I went backwards and started collecting all the Bronze Age. So every book, a lot of the books that a lot of our peers on like Instagram and people in the comic book sphere that people are going crazy. Like I've owned them, bought them, sold them, collected. I've gone through all of them. So it's like you were saying, you are now at the point where to keep collecting fresh, you've changed your focus to
Mm-hmm.
conservation. And for me, I've changed my focus to almost pure speculation. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get excited about trying to figure out what the next hot book is going to be.
Yeah, that's what's great about this hobby, man. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
So
so many games within this game.
we're going to do this. You've got something special for us, but we're going to go ahead and get the juices flowing. One of the things about FOC Top 10, and I'm aware of different commentary. I'll say it the nice way. I'm aware of different commentary about my list, but that's kind of the point of speculation. You don't know what a book is going to do, right? You and
Right.
we're doing this it's like we're flying by the seat of our pants. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is live. This isn't scripted. I don't control the market. I just make lists. I
Yep.
see people, I've seen comments. I've seen, different people have different stuff, but I'm like, dude, I just make lists, man. That's all I do. If you make a lot of money out of it, good.
Good for you.
But yeah, good for you. There's a lot of home runs. There's a lot of home runs in these lists. There's a lot of singles
Yep.
and doubles too.
Yep. Yep.
But here's one thing I got to say, Dr. Paul. Sometimes some of these books are slow burns.
That's true.
Sometimes they take time to mature, kind of like real life investments.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, sometimes you get a book and you're like, ooh, it's hot. It's 20, $40 in the first 2 weeks. I want to get rid of them. And then a couple years later, that's a $400 book and you're sad about it. Other times,
Yeah,
it's hot out the gates, and 5 years later, everyone's forgotten about it and it's in the dollar bins, right? Like,
right.
yeah, it's fickle. It's fickle. But,
Hey, man,
I
but
think the
that
ones that have staying power are the ones that at the end of the day there's a compelling story, there's a compelling piece of art there. And if you this is why we always say collect what you like, right?
collect
Because
what you like. Yeah.
at the end of the day you can't go wrong. You collect what you like. And but it's fun to speculate.
Oh, it's a blast to speculate. I love it. I absolutely. I've completely embraced it. It's on my page. I am a comic book speculator. I spend
Right.
many man hours doing this. With that being said, coming in at number 10, you know, this was pure nostalgia for me.
Oh man, cool.
Total nostalgia. And I got to be honest, this was not in the top 10 at first. I couldn't get past the Indiana Jones homage, and I couldn't get past the, I think, Rambo homage.
Rambo, yeah, that's Rambo homage, yeah.
Yeah, man. But I was like, damn it, nostalgia got me. It got me. I was like, I
Wins
got to
out.
put it.
Wins out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, nostalgia won out. I felt I took it off, and when I took it off, I wanted it back on. So that let me know right there this was the right pick.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Something epic number 4. Number 4 is going to have a massive image crossover. He's going to this kid with this power. He's going to pull in a lot of image characters into his universe. So if you've been keeping up with the story, it's got some great pop culture covers. It's actually a very, very good read. It's a really good read. Completely creator done, written, drawn, ink, colors, all that. So yeah,
Wow.
it cracked the top 10, man.
Very cool. Fun.
Yeah, and
And it's
here's the
still
thing.
relevant. We just saw the latest Indiana Jones movie last weekend.
Did you see it? How'd you like it?
It's excellent. Actually, it's one of the better ones. It's definitely better than the last few. The gal from oh, his co-star, and I don't know
Yeah,
her name, but she had a she had a streaming show, I think is where most people know her from. She really held her own. I mean, um, th- th- she carried a lot of emotional scenes, and she really
really.
held her own against the star. And so, yeah, I thought it was excellent. I really did.
Well, there you go. A glowing review. Dial of Destiny. Go check it out.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Let's check out again at number 9 on this week's FOC Top 10. This one here is pure cover fire play. If you're a fan, you're going to love it. I want to say someone mentioned it to me. I was talking offline on Instagram and someone mentioned this to me, but I didn't even see the cover until 2 days ago. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So this week, FOC Top 10, coming in at number 9. Well, that was anticlimactic. Boom. Venom
Wow.
number 24. This is the 1 in 25 ratio variant. Sometimes the cover just sells the book, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, just I don't know if this is a Doomified Venom or a Venomified Doom, but that's kind of the point.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that could be a
It's a-
thing too. You never know.
I wonder if has Doom ever had his own symbiote, because I feel like Doctor Doom would want that for like universal control. I don't read enough into Venom, but
Right.
for some reason it makes sense that Doom would want his own symbiote to try to take over the entire universe. He's ambitious like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I read Secret
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows anything about Doom having his own symbiote, let me know in the comments, because after seeing this cover, I'm just like, does Doom get his own Venom? Because that'd be a pretty big deal if he did, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, I guess Sony controls Spider-Man and Venom. They also control Fantastic Four, which includes Doom. And now post merger that's becoming part of MCU, who knows? Both those properties come into the MCU, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things when something does take place, you're like, damn, what did this happen? Like, I can't believe this didn't happen before.
Hasn't happened
I
before,
could see
right?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could totally see it. But yeah, Venom and Doom are going heads up. If you're a Venom fan, you're absolutely going to want this cover for Venom 24. It's the 1 in 25 ratio variant. You know what I always say? Try to find the ratios close to ratio price. Dope cover, pure cover fire. One of the comments I get on Instagram, they'd be like, J Dub, you're such a Star Wars stan. You always put a Star Wars book on your list no matter what. Not quite the case. I put Star Wars books on my top 10 list because Star Wars is an expanded universe and they're always coming out with something brand new and they're always introducing new characters. Some characters pop and I don't know why. Some characters should pop bigger than they do. Diva Long pop. And you just never know. With that being
Well,
said, yeah.
it's such crossover appeal, right? You've got two
Yeah.
huge rabid fan bases. The crossover appeal is crazy. I mean, you put them on the list in part because it's easy, right? These are softballs here that are being lobbed at you if you're doing your FOC list.
Star Wars The High Republic, I've been saying for 2 years, it's the easiest spec to get into probably in the history of comic books. But coming in at number 8, it's not Star Wars High Republic. Once again, this girl's been on fire. She has been on fire. I'm pretty sure this is like her third appearance probably in a row. But Dr. Aphra is back again.
Wow.
Dr. Aphra number 35. The classic Star Wars cover.
Yeah.
It was
What an
absolutely
homage.
going to make it.
What
Absolutely
an
going to make it.
homage. That is incredible.
Isn't it? Look at
I
that.
love
Just
it.
look at that. And look at that. Front and center, man. This is beautiful. People really love this character, Dr. Aphra.
Yeah.
She's definitely one of the best characters in recent memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is number 35, but it's her legacy 75th. So I think it's going to be a 40-page issue, a bigger sized issue. And
cover price is $5 probably, huh?
yeah, it's also a Dark Droids tie-in. Dark Droids cracked the top 10 about 3 weeks ago. So yeah, if you're if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Dr. Afro fan, this is the one you're going to want. It's the Salvador LaRocca Star Wars homage variant. Great cover. And yeah, that's again Star Wars, man. What can I say? I'm not going to apologize for great Star Wars books. So,
Right.
hey, right.
And when was
Let's
the last time we had a Howard Chaykin homage on your show? I think this might be a first.
um actually it was about 2 months ago. There was a cover that kind of resembled Howard Chaykin. You thought it was, but it turned out it wasn't. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
always on the lookout for Howard Chaykin homage. So we got
Yeah, there you go. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's keep the show going in top 10. Let's bring in who we got? Number 10, 9, 8. Number 7. Listen, this book is what I call a slow burn. It's got its own fan base, but it's got consistently some of the best covers in the industry. The only reason I don't feature this book as much is because it would literally be on every list.
month.
It would take up a spot on every top 10. But this time, Todd Dan said instant add to the pull list. That covers dope. Coming in at number 7, this one was so, I like it. Let's see if you guys like it. It hasn't been on the list in a couple of months, but she's back. She's back.
Oh, wow.
Something is Killing the Children 32. Erica
Wow.
Slaughter's back. This is just a visually striking cover. I have no idea what monster this. I think this is the Duplicity. I think. I don't know, but it's like inverted. I just think it's a visually striking cover.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah. Cover E.
I love it.
F.O.C. reveal variant. So do you know how the F.O.C. reveals work?
I do not.
A store has to order. This is the book you have to order before the F.O.C. and it's an unlockable. So I think you got to at least order A, B, C, and D. And then it unlocks the option to place this order. And it's only available with your F.O.C. So when you put in an F.O.C. order, that doesn't mean you can't order the book after that. That's the primary order.
Right.
And then once all the shops get in their order,
that's guaranteed to you, right? Your F.O.C. order is
that's
guaranteed.
right.
You can order more, and you may or may not get them.
You may or may not. So F.O.C. reveals are specifically an incentivized cover for a shop to say, hey, if you order these, you can unlock this. So normally what happens is a bigger store might have 1, 2, maybe 3 copies at the most. If a store doesn't unlock it, you might not even see this on the shelf. Unless you pre-order it and tell your shop owner, hey, I want this cover. Let them know it's an F.O.C. When they put in their order, they can see it. It's available. They click on it. They unlock it. Voila. And there you have it. Coming in at number 7.
This artist is a genius.
Isn't that badass?
The creative process for this is just unreal. There's so much action conveyed here too, without any word balloons or without any sound effects.
Right. This story is actually really good. It's interesting because Something's Killing the Children had a lot of momentum when it first started, and then it kind of died off. But I don't know why, because it's really consistent. It's like I read it every month. It's a great story.
Yeah. I mean, I think independent books suffer from that, right? They can come out hot, but it's tough for independent books to keep going. I mean, issue 32, you're in year 3. That's tough.
Yeah. It's going strong.
You're well into year 3, right? And so I think it's always a bit of an uphill battle. The Spawn and the Savage Dragons and the Cerberus of the world, those are the exceptions, not the rule, right?
Yeah, Dave
Most
Sim had a
independent books
300.
only last a year, maybe.
Yeah. Didn't Dave Sim, he had a 300 issue plan, right? From the beginning.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Um, Spawn, as we know, is well over 300. Savage Dragon is somewhere around 270, so it's getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Savage. Now, the thing about Savage Dragon is it's done by one creator all the way through, right? So
Eric
McFarlane
Larson, that's
stepped
right.
away from Spawn, right? So McFarlane stepped away from Spawn, so it's further along, but has had a lot more creative influences. Whereas Savage Dragon, I think, actually holds the record for single creator, if I'm not mistaken.
Wouldn't that be Dave Sim?
Maybe. As I was saying it, I was thinking you just said Dave Sim did 300. I'd have to look at that, but I want to say there's
He took
something
a
that,
long ass hiatus and then he came back and
yeah,
finished up.
there might. I feel like there's a record around Eric Larson, so maybe somebody can tell us in the comments.
Sure, yeah. If anyone knows anything about that record, let me know. I was reading Cerebus around the church and state storyline. That was probably
Mhm.
one of his more classic runs.
Right,
Yeah. And then he got really hardcore political towards the end and he lost me. So,
right, and I
yeah.
guess he lost a lot of folks who were not into the shades of misogyny and some other stuff that they read into it as well.
Hey, man.
Yeah, go back
Jake,
to the
Jake,
first. Yeah, go back to the first 50 issues and enjoy Wolver
yeah.
Roach and
Wolf
that stuff.
Roach, right. And his wife, I forgot her
Uh,
name.
it was a Red Sonja knockoff. What was her
Red
name?
Sonja knockoff. That's right. Wearing her
I forget her
chainmail
name though.
bikini. God, those are classic, man. Those are the good old days of service, man. So yeah, James Tinian, who obviously does not sleep at all, he still has Something's Killing the Children. Number 32, cover E F.O.C. reveal. I want to stop. Where you say haven't left my pull list since I started. Okay, good.
Mm.
I want to stop here at number 7 because the fire starts at 6. That's when the
Oh,
list
all
gets
right.
hot. Yeah,
We'll take a
so
little intermission.
let's do an intermission. Dr. Paul, what do you have for us? What are you up to in your laboratory? What are you cooking up for us?
So just this week, posted a video that's been months in the making. People who like to see restoration videos or like ASMR or just like to see the whole process in one video, like a little bit more efficient, will enjoy this upload. So this is literally dozens of hours of work, all compressed into 30 minutes. And this is that book that I mentioned. This is a World War II book. A lot of Nazis getting their asses kicked in this book by, it's an anthology book, America's Best Comics number 12. These four
Wow.
heroes, Pyroman, Black Terror, American Eagle, and Doc Strange. And I did a whole series where I took this book. It was a 2.0 restored. It had the
Yeah.
cover was glued on, and completely took it apart, dry cleaned it, wet cleaned every single page, did the glue removal, repaired every page that was ripped, torn, had pieces missing, and then reassembled the book and gave it a final press. And this one video summarizes a dozen videos. And I think, again, viewers, if they want to hop on point for conservation, this is a perfect video for them. And if you move toward the end, I think if you scroll through it, you can kind of see a lot of the work that I did. Here's staple removal, and here's dry cleaning. Yeah, I think that's about the right pace. You can kind of keep going like that. And
Wow.
after dry cleaning, I disassemble the book and do some wet cleaning. And here it is in a water bath. And this is the glue removal step, actually. So the first page and the cover and the first wrap were glued together. There's the separation of them.
So you currently have this in a bath right now.
Uh, yeah. There you go. You can see the
Wow.
liquid. Yeah.
Guys,
That's the
I,
only way
I
to
hope
get that glue removal.
guys, if you're watching this live, do you see what this guy? When I say he's the sorcerer supreme of paper, I kid you not. This is what he does. This is amazing. I would be
So I rev-
terrified
so
to
I
do this.
review all of the scientific literature for the
Yeah.
conservation. I review the chemistry, and I walk through like the chemistry of dissolving that 40-year-old glue. Right there, you
Oh,
go.
Jesus Christ. You literally
This is
have the chemical compounds.
this is polyvinyl acetate. That's white glue or Elmer's glue. That's what we glued stuff together in elementary school. That's what was holding this cover to the first wrap. So you have to. There's not very many solvents that'll take that apart well, and so you have to know what you're doing. And I share those techniques here. And then
Good Lord.
yeah.
Do you guys see why? This is why I rock with Dr. Paul. This is this is next level stuff. This is
It's
next level
fun.
stuff.
It's fun. So like I said, I think
I just
folks
love
who
how
are interested in that.
you almost have like a casual Krieger effect where he's like, oh, I just do it for fun. Krieger from
Yeah.
Archer.
Yeah, why not? What else are you going to do with your time, right? There's only so
Look at
many
this.
benches you can press and weights you can pull out.
Besides cleaning books. What?
And then
Hold on a
I
second.
give my
Look at
tips and
this.
tricks.
What is this here?
This is actually the mending. So this is the cover, and it's it's completely split. And what I'm doing is these are the tiny little fragments of paper that were glued onto the first wrap. We've removed them from the first wrap, and I'm now reuniting them with the cover. And then I'm going to use this Japanese paper to do what they call mending, which is basically a tear seal. And I'm going to make these two halves of the cover one again.
So mending like this is still considered conservation, not restoration.
Correct. If you do it
Okay,
at using professional materials and professional techniques. Now, CGC gives themselves a little bit of here I'm gluing it in with archival glue, which is made from wheat paste. CGC gives themselves an out that basically if you use these techniques but you do a crummy job and it's amateurish, they can still label it as restoration. So they clearly state these techniques are conservation if they're done professionally, if they're done in an archival nature, right? So yeah, you can get a blue label with the gray bar across the top rather than purple label. As a matter of fact, I've never gotten a purple label. I say that. I'm sure I will at some point because
what is this? What is this?
this is the
What are
same
you doing right
Japanese
here?
paper. Yep. So this is the same Japanese paper on the obverse of the cover. And I'm putting the wheat paste down. And as you can see, the Japanese paper, when it sits there, it's kind of translucent and looks like kind of milky. But as
Yeah.
you glue it down, it becomes almost transparent. So the repair when you're done is almost invisible. And it's archival. So, hopefully this book will last another 80 years or 100 years. We deacidified every single page. Here I am putting a fold back into the book, and I talk about how to do that. This is my technique. So this has been completely reassembled after every single page was deacidified.
You know what? I saw one of your early
press.
videos. I saw one of your early videos where you were using an iron to do a press, and I attempted to do that back during the pandemic. I started trying to do that with different books, but
Yeah.
man, let me see the final.
Here it's
Oh
going in the
my
press.
God,
And
dude, the
and I
quality
think,
though.
yeah,
I saw the quality of the paper.
I think next image will be essentially, I give some stats on, how I press it. Here's the book.
Unbelievable, dude.
Here it is finished. So
No
you
way.
can read it now. You can flip through it. It's been completely deacidified. It's whitened. The paper is supple. again, you get to finally view all these Nazis getting their asses kicked by our heroes.
Hey, I agree
And
with Ed Medina, dude. This is crazy. Like, this is a masterclass, man. This is a whole different book.
right? Yeah. So this one turned
Unbelievable.
out
Okay,
really well. And like I said, I
that's
think
an
this
understatement.
video. Well, I do this all the time, so I guess it does become kind of the norm. Um, but I
She's
think
look
this,
at
like
that.
I said, this video is a good jumping on point for folks. Here's the after picture.
Oh my god.
So that, like I said,
Now,
that book
are you going? You're
was.
going to resubmit this.
I will submit it. I just need to make the time to do it. But yeah, this will be submitted. We'll be going for a conserved grade. I didn't predict, but I guess I can here. I expect a conserved grade between a 3 and a 4. Remember, we started with restored 2.
Right.
So I think, that's a significant value upgrade.
Look at that.
And obviously you can see here, like, look at the book on the left. You have
Look
this
at that.
severe spine roll. The spine is split at least halfway. It's glued to the first wrap. It's yellow. The edges are coming apart. You're afraid basically even to flip through the book that you're going to destroy it. Whereas the book on the right is the one you could see where I was just flipping through. And again, importantly, there's no restoration here. This is not a purple label book, or it ought not to be. Again, if you do enough of this stuff, it's only a matter of time. You will occasionally, or you will eventually get a purple label. But to date, I haven't. This is a conserved. We're very careful to use conservation techniques so we can get that conserved label and preserve the value, and preserve these treasures for, like I said, the next generation, the next 100 years.
Unbelievable.
Thank
And
you.
now, is the conservation level or the conservation label, is that a identifier on the blue label?
So it's blue label, and then across the top you have a gray bar, and it says conserved.
Nice.
And so, rule of thumb, it varies from book to book and whatever, but rule of thumb, a restored book is going to get about a third of a blue label value.
That's right.
Rule of thumb for conserved book is about 2/3 of
Okay.
of blue label value. So, which I think is fair. I mean, obviously a 4.0 conserved should not be worth the same as a 4.0 universal. But because we've used archival techniques, we took care to preserve the book, we haven't done anything to mislead anybody. Or, one of the big things about conservation is it's all about disclosure, right?
Right.
So this book can't be used in the future to basically try to get one over on someone, or it can't be used to rip somebody off, because we know it's conserved. It's obvious it's conserved. It's not a hidden repair. And so I think, they're much better received in the marketplace and in among collectors than a restored book.
Let's use a real-time example live for our live audience, okay? I have here an unrestored Amazing Spider-Man 15. Okay.
Ooh.
Just looking at it, like, do you salivate at what you could do with it?
Well,
Like,
that
what
I
could-
do, and you especially know that I love this specific book. This is one of my favorite Ditko Spider-Man books.
Yeah. Now, what could we do with this for just base level conservation?
Well, one thing about this book, it's not so far gone that we would necessarily go for conservation, I think.
Okay.
I think this is one we would actually try to keep it universal grade.
Okay.
And we probably want to do. See, let us see the edge of that cover on the inside. Actually,
This
just
side?
go back to the way you were holding it, but just shift it over so we can see where your right hand is holding it. Shift. There you go. See that tanning?
Yeah.
That's pretty dark, right? So
Okay.
I think this would benefit from a wet clean, or there's a number of other techniques could be used, but I think we would want to try to reverse some of that tanning and
Okay.
deacidify that cover. And other than that, it's probably a relatively simple clean and press. Not
Nice.
nearly as extensive as the Golden Age. I mean, it's in a lot better shape, right?
Right.
The book, the book I just showed
Yeah,
you.
I don't want to give any. I don't want to get anyone anxiety. I was holding it very carefully.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a very delicate book. You know, you got to be careful how you hold it. But yeah, so
that's a
you
beautiful
could
book.
definitely deacidify it and get the
Oh yeah,
yellow
yeah, that's a
closer
great book.
to
Well,
whiteness.
that's of all of the Ditko Kirby, the Rogues Gallery that they created in the first,
Yeah.
25 issues there. I don't know why I like Craven so much, but he's cool, and I think that's one of the best covers of all of them too. Oh, speaking of great covers,
Speaking of great covers, we're back to the FOC top
what?
10. Okay, so guys, listen, coming in at number 6. Sometimes you don't know what a book's going to do at the time. Obviously, there's been a lot of hype about Void Rivals. I think this will probably be a slow burn. It's probably going to be one of those books that, as it keeps going, Dr. Paul, this is a true story. I was aware of something is killing the children. It's when I got back into
Right.
collecting mid 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing like number 1, 2, and 3 on the shelf. I just didn't know what it was. I just didn't bother.
Right.
You fast forward, into the pandemic a year later, and it's like the hottest book in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You never quite know what's going to catch fire in
Yeah.
the early stages, which is why I've really been paying attention to Void Rivals, basically because of what Robert Kirkman is doing with the universe.
Yeah.
That being said, again, folks, it's just too easy to pre-order all of the early issues now. It's already on its third print. Again, the third print features Jetfire. That was the big news from issue 1. And yeah, MA knows. See, he's with me. We
Yeah.
really dig those prints with Jetfire.
I can't
And it was
believe
interesting
this cover
because
art.
there was there were some store exclusives, and I remember saying, I said, they're selling these store exclusives, but they ended up slapping Jetfire on the second print.
Mm-hmm.
And the second print had a cover A and cover B, of which I have like 4 or 5 copies of each, because that's just how I do. But we have here the third print of cover 1. That is an amazing cover.
It's incredible. Doesn't that
And then
look
we have,
like you could believe that that's actually could transform into a jet? I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah,
joints actually look like, well, wait a minute, there's like wires and stuff. Like, this is maybe he could transform. It looks real, man.
it does look real. Livio Ramondelli needs to draw one of these covers. He's one of my favorite. Livio Ramondelli wrote and created one of my, when I say all time greatest comic books,
Wow.
he did a book called The Kill Lock. It is literally one of the greatest comic books I've ever read. And he draws robots extremely well. I'm going to put this in a universe that Ramondelli needs to do one of these Void Rival covers. To even got the first 1-in-1. Oh man, that's great.
Oh, wow.
That's
Tomb
great.
killing it.
See, Tomb's all in. He said he's stacking them. He's definitely
Wow.
getting these two. Yeah. So Tomb, if you read number 2, you already know they introduced the new villain, Skuxoid or whatever. And so now he gets his own cover. So
There he
this is
is.
coming. Issue 2, second print, early stages. Yeah, folks, I always say if it's a big name attached to a major project, get in on the ground floor. Get in on the ground floor. See, I remember Dr. Paul early, kind of the early aughts when Invincible first came out. I wasn't
Oh,
feeling it. I was not
yeah.
feeling it. I just thought it was wacky. It just wasn't my vibe. And then
Hmm.
Invincible went on to become what it became.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you've been in if you've been in the game as long as we have, you've seen a
right,
lot of these properties come and go, right? And
right,
some of them you were in on, some of you weren't, right?
right, right.
I
Yeah,
remember,
but Robert Kirkman, he's proven.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
proven quantity. One of those for me was Alias when that came out
Oh,
by Brian Michael Bendis, right? And they
yeah.
launched the Max line with Alias.
Yes.
And I remember that moment, and I remember grabbing it and thinking this could be something, and then just being all in and just being all about everything that Jessica Jones was doing from there on out, right? And then of course
Yeah.
she eventually the Max line kind of went away and she got rolled into New Avengers and
Thankfully.
but you know what's interesting about that? You can't get Max line anywhere except in print. It's not on Comixology, it's not on Marvel Unlimited. I guess because of the R-rated nature and the fact that Disney bought them.
Right.
But that's the only place you can get it is the old floppies, man.
You know what's crazy? Um, the early 2000s went through kind of a what I call a writer renaissance because Marvel was really, we know, is going bankrupt, and
Yeah.
Blade kind of saved their ass, and
Mm-hmm.
and then everything kind of shifted to writers. You had Straczynski, you had Bendis, you
Yep.
had well, Kirkman came a little bit later, but a lot of the hot writers came into the game,
Absolutely.
and a lot of books were writer driven, and Alias was very heavy text, heavy script.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Um,
buying that for the art. As a matter of fact, I'm not. It's not really my style, art wise. But the
right.
story, holy smokes!
It's guys, if you guys have never read the original Marvel Max A-List, which introduced Jessica Jones, it's one of the books you have to read.
Yep,
Absolutely. Yeah, I was
absolutely.
totally into it. Oh, dude, I had
It's
the whole
totally
set.
collectible too, right? I mean, what is it? 35 issues, something like
Yeah,
that.
it was.
And
Yeah, yeah,
even issue
yeah.
one, I mean, raw 60, $80, something like that, right? You can get that whole run for very and it's fun to hunt. Did you read any of the other Max lines? Because Blade
I read
that
all the
you just
Maxes.
mentioned, yeah, Blade had his own Max line, right?
Yeah,
And of course Cage did, which was nuts.
I,
I
I,
love
I
those
was
Max
into a.
books.
I was in a phase where all of the writer-driven books was what I was going for, including
Hmm.
Vertigo.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
dude, there
okay.
was a moment when Vertigo was on fire. They had
Yeah.
Vertigo had, besides Preacher, they launched Fables.
Hmm.
That was hot with Bill Winningham.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
Scout was incredible. Oh, one of the
Sandman. I
greatest.
mean, the anchor was Sandman, right?
Yeah, Sandman, Neil Gaiman, Sandman was the anchor. But dude, I swear to God, one of the greatest books ever that has yet to be adapted. 100 Bullets.
Mm. Hmm.
100 Bullets is one of the most badass comic books ever. And I'm like, I think it's too violent to adapt. But then Mark Miller did Kick Ass.
I was going to say, well, sure, except we have the boys,
Yeah,
and we
it's
have
like
your
Garth did The
aforementioned
Boys. Mark
Invincible.
Miller did Kick Ass. So I'm like, you guys need to bring out 100 Bullets. 100
Yeah,
Bullets. If you guys never read 100
that'll get
Bullets,
made. That'll get made.
dude, it's one of the most badass books you can ever read. Brian Azzarello, I got hooked on everything Brian Azzarello did. It's 100 Bullets is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
real quick, and then we'll get to number 5. Basically, 100 Bullets is X Files meets John Wick. That's the perfect way to
Ooh.
describe it. And this was before John Wick, so that's
Of
like
course.
retroactively describing it.
Right.
Yeah. X Files meets John Wick, 100 Bullets. Guys, go Google it while you're waiting for number
Huge.
5. Coming in at number 5, listen, I just explained it. You got to get in at the ground floor. Void Rivals, number 3. Number 2 kind of cameo introduced the new main major villain. So number 3 is the big introduction. It's just too easy to get in on the ground floor. Dude, Void Rivals is such a good read, man. It's so good. Yeah, Robert Kirk. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. If you know, you know. Number 4. Okay, Dr. Paul.
Yes, sir.
Did you watch any part of my market update from last week? Did you get a chance?
I did not. I apologize.
That's fine. Um, My
You
Little
know, my
Pony.
mom was in town. She was visiting me
Yes.
last week, and I
Well,
spent the week with her. I took time off work and spent the week with her and my family.
you gotta tell you gotta tell mom like, hey, I got this guy named J Dub. He's phenomenal, and check out his channel. But
Gather around. Let's watch this.
My Little Pony, the return on investment peaked at around
Mm.
750%.
I did see this on Instagram. Yes.
I did have some detractors. I did have some critics. Oh well, what I say? I just make the list. I don't control the market.
Credit
I
where it's due. You called
yeah,
it. A number of people were in on it with you.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of haters because the people that weren't in on it are jealous.
They kind of missed out, right?
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, coming in at number 4, listen, I just make the list. I don't know what the market's going to do. He's giggling. Listen, Sonic the Hedgehog 900.
Wow.
So, folks that love these books really love these books. Okay, they really love them. The IDWs, the ponies, the snakes, the turtles, Dungeons and Dragons, as we know. They really love. Look, Tomb's already LOLing. Listen, when I do my research, people love these anniversary issues. They love the oversized compendiums, whatever, and they really gravitate towards the special covers, the ratios. All right. I picked this one specifically because what does this cover kind of remind you of? One of the more classic, modern, iconic covers. Anyone who's watching this live, you got a little bit of delay. What does this kind of remind you of? It's a modern icon. Everyone's been doing it. When I saw this, I said, "Oh, that kind of looks like that cover." So, I put 2 and 2 together and I'm like, I think that's what the artist was going for. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. It looks like Venom number 3. It's a Donny Cates Venom 3
Yeah, yeah.
homage.
Oh, yeah. Now I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Soft homage, but I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I think they didn't want to make it too
I
spot
was
on, nose
I
on.
wasn't sure what you were going for, and the way that he's holding himself with his 2 legs, I was thinking about that Miles Morales Spider-Man cover where he's between 2 cars.
Could be. Could be.
No, but I think you're right. I think it's the Venom.
Yeah. Ed got it. Tall Dan got it. It's a delay, but yeah, he got it in there. Tomb, LOL, Jackson, Dr. Paul. Hey, man, look, I'm for all the people, baby. I'm for everybody. Everyone loves J Dub, man. Even the moms. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, no. When I saw this, the thing is, you don't have to be a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. One thing about my collection, I collect what I love. I collect what I read. I also like to collect collectible covers. So this is not going to be an expensive book either. I think it's a $5 book. So if you pre-order, you can get it pretty cheap. But I specifically like cover C, Sonic the Hedgehog 900. Oh, it's an $8 book. My bad. So yeah, definitely pre-order it.
Right.
But I do love the Donny Cates, the classic Stegman Venom 3 soft homage there. Um, for the ones who want this book, this is going to be the cover. You know what book I picked on my list months ago, and it
Many of them. Which one are you talking about?
my kids have been watching Sonic. Oh, yeah, man, and I actually like Sonic 1 and 2, the movie. Jeff the Shark,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jaws. Remember, I
You
picked the
called it.
Jaws. I said the Jaws is going to be the hot one.
Yeah.
The Jaws variant sold out first, and it became like an $8, $10 book.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it
you called
probably even went higher than that. But yeah, Sonic came in at number 4. So I'm not afraid to take risks, as we all know. If I see something I like, it's going to crack the top 10. Coming in at number 3. Listen, guys, Sometimes it's too easy, and sometimes it's so easy, I think the market falls asleep. This movie, this property, has grossed roughly $650 million at the box office. And this is the official adaptation. So, in my opinion, this is a no brainer. Oh, and by the way, it's a 5-star book. The book is incredible. If you're not reading Creed, this Creed is amazing. Maybe,
Really? I didn't know about this.
dude, this is Creed number 3. Where have you been?
I don't know.
Yeah, Creed number 1. Oh, you want to know something funny?
Yeah, I do. I didn't know
Extreme
about this.
Venomverse, Extreme Venomverse, the Okazaki cover that went haywire that I picked.
Right, right.
I picked it number 2. I picked Creed number 1 on that same list.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's how much I felt about Creed. Now, with that being said, oh, by the way, we got 15 people watching live. I hope I'm going to get 15 likes. It costs you nothing
I'm
in
in there.
energy to hit the like button. Thank you. Thank you in advance. But listen, this is the officially sanctioned adaptation sequel by Michael B. Jordan, who directed
Oh,
Creed
cool.
3. So
Wow.
this is absolutely a tie-in to the ongoing movie story where his daughter, Amara, is going to become a boxer. And
Oh,
let me tell you,
man.
this book is very entertaining. This book is awesome.
That's
It's so good.
cool. Man,
Yeah,
it's a
this
great
is
franchise.
oh man, it's great. I was actually skeptical about Creed, and then I watched it and I just got sucked in.
You know what's funny? I told my wife
But
we got to watch this because the second one's out, and somehow this woman who grew up in the '80s like we did
yeah,
had never seen Rocky, like any of the none of the movies from the entire franchise.
well, that's
So
your
we
fault because when you were dating, you're supposed to.
right? Well, hey,
Yeah.
now when we were dating, it was just before Lord of the Rings trilogy came out, and she
Oh,
said,
okay.
"Oh, I got to reread the books before the trilogy comes out." So she's got game in other areas, but
Okay.
I'll tell you. So as at our age, I sat her down and we watched the entire Rocky franchise just so that we could prep for Creed 2. Yeah, it's a
Good
great
job.
franchise. I love the
Which
direction
one?
they've gone.
Which one was her favorite?
I don't know if I asked her that. I mean, there's a lot of strong movies in that franchise.
Yeah.
I go back to Rocky 4 all the time, but I like the earlier ones too. I like the later ones, but if he dies, he dies.
Um, it was Rocky 3 for me with the introduction of Mr. T until
Right,
Rocky 4 came out, and then it
right.
was over. Rocky 4 forever, man.
I mean, he's so
Ivan
bad.
Drago has Ivan Drago
He's
has
so
7
bad.
lines. Yeah,
Right?
and
Yeah.
they're all iconic.
Yeah.
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 So
It's a
yeah,
great
Creed
franchise. And Creed's building
guys.
on it, going its own direction, and it's great when you can take a franchise like that and then go off in another direction and be equally good. And I mean, obviously this franchise is doing it, so that's awesome.
Dude, it's such a strong storyline. And listen, Creed, the next round, number 3, cover D. This is the 1 in 25 variant. There's a 1 in 50 variant, which is a version of this. So this will have the what do you call it?
Trade dress?
Thank you. This will have the trade dress. The 1 in 50, I believe, is going to be the virgin. But if you can get this 1 in 25, I think that's the one to at least pre-order. Excellent storyline, guys. This is, and it's almost like reading the screenplay to the movie. It's a great story. I was skeptical. No longer. I'm hooked. In my opinion, it's an easy spec play to get in on the Creed. I think it's going to be one of those things where the eventual movie comes out, and then everyone's going to go around looking for these books. That
Yeah.
being said,
I mean, if they introduce characters in these books that then end
it
up in the
does.
movies,
It
forget
does.
about it, right?
Woo! Number 2. Man, listen. Number 2 is a triple threat. Moon Knight, City of the Dead, issue number 2. First of all, you guys know it's
Gosh.
routine. If it's Rose Besh, it's going to make the show. It just is.
What?
But then what ended up happening was Bill Sienkiewicz. Sienkiewicz? Yeah,
I think you could say Sienkiewicz. Yeah.
yeah. He's doing the 1 in 20.
But
Do you know how rabid Bill Sienkiewicz fans are?
yeah, because I'm one of them. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's doing
gosh.
the 1 in 25 variant. And since now seeing your reaction, we're going to have to go ahead and do this.
Wow.
After seeing your reaction, here we go. Let's blow it
So
up.
I was fortunate enough to meet the man,
I remember you telling me that.
and he signed some books for me. And yeah, you know what? Next time I'm on your show, I got to
Yeah.
share some of my signed books by him with the viewers, because the man is just a genius. Holy
His
smokes,
fan
look
base
at that.
his fan base is so hardcore. When I saw this, I said, "Oh, this has to be number 2 because they're going to gobble this up."
Yeah, I want that.
This actually introduces a new character, Jackal Knight, which is yeah. But here's the crazy thing. Remember, I said this is a triple play,
Mm-hmm.
dude. This is the variant that did not make the show.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is the
Who's the
Horley.
artist?
Horley.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if anyone knows who Horley is, Alex
It's
Horley.
sort of like Frank Frazetta meets Jeff Easley, like with some
Look at
Dorman
that.
flavor.
Yeah,
Dave
man.
Dorman flavor. That's incredible. I love to see
When I
comic
first
books with this kind of cover art style, right?
when I first made the list, it was just going to be a Rose Besh feature until I saw the
Well,
Sienkiewicz. She also has the 1 in 100 Virgin variant.
so you
Yeah,
know that I'm a fan,
yeah,
but some characters work better for some artists, and
right.
that's not playing as much to her style, Moon Knight, for me. Right? I mean,
You said
that's
it
not
does
like
or
it doesn't. I mean, that doesn't hit like her Silk cover, for example, right?
okay,
Just because the
right,
subject matter is not fitting her style quite as well, in my opinion.
okay. But the Sienkiewicz, absolutely, yeah,
Well, yeah. Plus, he's the original artist for Moon Knight,
right, right,
so that's also throwback, right?
yeah. And that's what I say. Oh, I'm about to say the triple threat. Well, you have Scarlet Scarab. She made her huge debut. All right. And they brought her in from the MCU, the show. And
Mm-hmm.
then now you're introducing a new character, I think a villain. Plus you have a Rose Besh. Plus you have a Bill cover. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just pure fire all around.
And
Guys,
that
put in your
painted cover.
pre-orders now. This is going to be a hot one. Um, it could have been number 1, but number 1 is number 1.
There we go.
So here we go. Um, so for number 1, this artist is known, and this is going to be a big giveaway. This artist is known for doing, God, what's that series called? The Batman series. Anyway, what's his name? Sean Murphy?
I do not know. I but dabble in these modern comics.
Oh,
Anything past
God. Yeah,
1991.
you're no help. You're no help when it comes to modern. No, he does the awesome Batman Beyond the White Knight.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, Sean Murphy. Um, he's doing his own original series.
Oh, cool.
And this first landed on my radar like 3 or 4 months ago. So I was actually waiting for its F.O.C. And here it is, coming in at number 1. Plot holes. Yeah, thank you, Tall Dan. Batman White, Sean Murphy. Yeah, Sean Murphy is doing his own original series called Plot Holes. When I read the synopsis like 3 months ago, I immediately said, and this is gonna make y'all laugh because y'all know how I feel about Whatnot. I immediately said this is going to be the first Whatnot series that I actually like, and I'm actually going to
Is that the
buy.
publisher? Whatnot?
Yeah, Whatnot is the publisher, and
Oh, fun.
miraculously, thankfully, they landed Sean Murphy.
Wow.
So, fictional warriors who transport themselves into the pages of other books. So it's kind of like a crossover type, but these are all new characters. It's an all new story. It kind of pokes fun at different genres,
I
including
saw.
as you, yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
no. I'm about to say it just really gives free license, as you see here, the obvious Calvin and Hobbes reference.
Calvin and Hobbes homage, and it looks like
Yeah,
I saw a Thor 337
yeah. What the
homage
F
too.
and D, Tall Dan? Yeah, plot holes number one. Let's go ahead and do a share screen because you guys, if you're not aware, you want this on your radar. Sean Murphy goes all in. So we have plot holes number one, a clear cut Calvin and Hobbes reference. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have a
Walt
Thor Beta Ray
Simonson.
Bill reference. So that's
Walt
another
Simonson Thor 337.
Walt Simonson. That's
But
right.
actually drawn, so it's not even an homage because it is Simonson.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's got all these different pop culture
Wow.
crossover references. This I can't quite. Is this I know what this is, but my brain won't say it. I want to say paper dolls or something, but it's something that's
Oh,
like.
the font is reminiscent of paper dolls, but I
Thank
don't
you. No,
recognize
this.
that
Yeah,
cover.
I can't quite put my finger on what he's tagging on, but then you have the throwback Sega. But I've always said I've been one of Whatnot's biggest critics. I'm like, they're good for all
Right.
the pop culture reference and covers, but the stories were kind of lacking in my opinion. But dude, listen, Mignola, come on,
Mm,
he's nailing it, man. He's
yeah.
nailing it.
Wow.
Yeah. Sean Murphy is phenomenal. Like his Batman White Knight is incredible.
Mm,
And
that's good to
look,
hear.
listen, guys, put in an order for every cover. It's possible there might be a one per store variant. They don't know until it happens. So what you have to do is you got to tell your shop, hey, pull one of each cover, which will include by default. Look at that. By default, it will include the
Simonson.
one per store variant. And yeah, man. Let's get back to
Simonson's
this.
old school. He's still working in pen and pencil, or he's still working in pen and paper.
So yeah, plot holes number one. Definitely number one on this week's F.O.C. We'll see what it does. It's going to be a great read. It's going to be an excellent read. It's for my opinion, it's going to be one of the top books at Whatnot Publishing. So bravo to them for landing Sean Murphy. Bravo to those
Very
guys.
cool. Very
Yeah, and this is
cool.
going to be a fun read. So yeah, man.
Fun
This is our.
list.
You like that list, huh?
Yeah, I like that list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to call somebody, get me one of those 1 in 25 Bill Sienkiewicz covers.
There you go. See, I'm glad. I'm always glad when I can get you to break down and get a modern book. That means I did my job.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Isabel said the black cover is beautiful too. Yeah, we'll take a look at it again. So let's go
Those
over the
are
top 10 again before we close out. Number 10, something epic. Whew, man, it's hard to beat nostalgia, really. Like,
Yep.
gotta love it. If you're a Venom fan, you're absolutely going to love this 125 variant for Venom 24.
That's
A Doomified Venom or a Venomified Doom. Take your pick. Dude, listen. How can I
Mhm.
can't stay away from Star Wars when they keep doing awesome.
Right? I love when
And
they sign the homage and they say after who it's, after. So we have after Chaikin here. That's great.
that makes you happy, huh?
Yeah, it's cool. Then that makes it a real homage. Otherwise it's a ripoff.
Something Killing the Children, number 32. They always have FOC reveal covers, and they're always worth the effort. So go after
Beautiful.
that. Great story. Great cover. Listen,
Hmm.
Jesus Christ. Void Rivals is so good. And these second prints, Dr. Paul, what is my rule for second prints and third prints? I know MA3 Mo knows it.
Gotta have new art, man.
If it has new art, I am there every day of the week. If your second
Yeah.
print has original art, sign up. What did he say? We need a top 10 SDCC list tomorrow.
Ooh.
You know the thing about that, Ed, man? There's so much heat coming out there. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I'm not even sure I have time, to be honest.
Right.
I don't even know where to start. Yeah, get in on Void Rivals from the ground floor. It's just too easy. Number 3, it's already been said. Sonic, yeah, I tossed it in. It might be a little high. I just like the obvious Donny Cates Venom 3.
It's fun.
They really took it there. Number 4. Number 3,
Mm.
guys, listen. I know the market isn't really responding right now, but Creed 3, the next round, his daughter Amara, yeah, man, get in on it. Trust me on that. Get in on it. Dude, come on. Yeah, I knew all the Sienkiewicz fans out there. I knew they would love that. That's why I cracked the top 10. And of course, Plot Holes, again, it's probably going to be the best book out there. Sean Murphy has a very strong fan base, and people love his Batman White Knight. They absolutely love it. They gobbled the first 2 issues, sold out immediately. He's doing this. So, yeah. What not?
Try it out.
What not stepping up their game, man?
That's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, more publishers, more work for creators. It's good for collectors, man.
2,
Oh.
SDCC has a Dungeons and Dragons special wraparound cover. That's the one I'm trying to get. Yeah.
That's another game within the game. The people trying to grab those books from the SDCC flippers.
Hey, listen, man. I put together so many list copies of the Dungeons and Dragons cover B connecting variant because they're so awesome.
Right.
I'm like, once folks really try to get into it, it's going to be really hard to find those, especially in high grade. And I've been telling whoever
Nostalgia's
listens,
real.
you want to get those Dungeons and Dragons their first time in American comic book format. They did a Spanish magazine version back in like 1986. They basically adapted one of the episodes. I don't really count that.
Right.
Yeah. So the Dungeons and Dragons comic book. Other than that, yeah. Listen, this was a tough list.
Well, thanks for doing the work on everyone's behalf and for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed that list. I think for me, that Something Is Killing the Children cover.
You like that?
So artistic and unique. Yeah, and then of course the Sienkiewicz cover for Moon Knight.
No, you like the Howard Chaykin. You like that.
I like that too. Yeah, of course. Star Wars.
You really like that. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, I just know that Sienkiewicz for me goes back to the New Mutants.
Yeah.
That's when I first got into him.
When he signs a book for you, his signature is freaking art. Wait till next time we're on. I'll show you. That's one of my prized possessions. My issue of New Mutants number 18 that he signed.
Wow, that's nice.
I don't care
awesome,
how many books you have, or like that book right there for me with his signature on it. That's right up there.
Nice, man. Well, yeah, this Moon Knight, City of the Dead. I got so many books I still need to read that I haven't got to yet. I had to put this list together. I wanted to do this show, but then I'm gonna go read these books.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock here in Austin, Texas. Tim, where are you from? Aren't you like in Europe somewhere? What is it like in the middle of the night over there or something? I don't
No, it's
remember. He was telling me
pretty
where
late
from.
in
He
the
says,
evening.
Tall Dan said that plot holes cover that you were saying the cursive writing looked familiar. Purple Rain homage? Is that it? Is it? Oh,
Standing on top of the car with
the
the
car. Okay,
sword?
I guess I see that. I guess. Well, I tell you guys what. Order all the covers. I think it's going to be a great book, man. I trust Sean Murphy completely. So this is going to be the one. Look at this. Look at this, though. Did I show this one? Look at this one. We can't leave until we look at this one first. There we go. This one's cool too. Look at that. Like a noir, kind of a noir cover.
Mm. Oh, you know what that is? That's um
Is this doing it for you? What? What's up?
it's the homage to the movie, the famous movie where the actress opens her legs and then closes her legs while she's being interviewed for the murder. You know what I'm talking about? Isn't that what it
Yeah,
is?
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. That's what it looks like, right? Is that
I
a
guess.
Basic Instinct homage?
I mean, yeah. If your brain goes there, it could be.
I don't know.
It could be.
Is there something else going on?
I don't know, man. There's so many great covers. Listen, I'm a diehard Calvin and Hobbes fan. This does it for me.
Yeah,
This
it's cool.
this makes me happy.
Yeah.
He even got the Bill Watterson font.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
did
that
Watterson do the art?
no, Sean Murphy's just that good, dude. This is
Oh,
Sean
really?
Murphy. Listen,
All of
this
these are
is
Sean Murphy like riffing on these other artists? Because I
I
thought this one
think
was actually signed Simonson.
is that Simonson at the bottom?
Yeah.
That's okay. So that's
Look at the one
Simonson.
that's actually in pencil. You can see like
I don't think
Simonson's.
I don't think this is Watterson, dude.
It may not be. This may be him riffing on Watterson.
I think that says that might be Samariva. Samariva's been doing some cool stuff lately.
Mm.
Samariva's been Samariva's been doing some great stuff lately.
Wow.
Yes, Simonson did that. Scalera, Bengal. Simonson did the black and white. Mike Mignola did that one. That's great. Mike Mignola,
Mm-hmm.
of course, Hellboy and all that good stuff. You know, it's one of those things. It's just a great time to be alive if you're a comic book. Oh, the
Sure.
1 in 100 is a foil variant.
Yeah.
Listen, oh, what did he say? He says he's in Canada. Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay. All right. Okay, so Eastern. All right, cool,
Well,
cool,
it's kind
cool.
of, kind of European.
They've got that one pre-order. Tiny text, so Sinuson, it says after. Interesting. You got
Oh,
an
okay.
eagle eye, tall Dan. That's
So,
cool, man.
so even that is a Simonson. That's him homaging. Wow,
I
that's
know,
some
right?
talent. That's some talent.
Dude, you know, I've always said in a perfect world, I would just read, look at, sell, buy, collect, and talk comic books. I would have like a show similar to Pawn Star Wars or whatever, Pawn Stars. I
Yeah,
would just be talking comic books all day long.
it's like
So hey,
Seinfeld. This right here. This is a show. Just this.
this
This
is
is
the
a show.
show, huh? Yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah, show about nothing except comic books. So hey, man, thanks for coming out, guys. Thanks for watching live. I'll make sure to put the link in the description for your incredible sorcery. And
Thank you. I appreciate it.
guys, everybody, thanks for coming out. We're on Instagram, as you guys know. If you didn't know, that's where you can find us. I'll be putting out the list, as I always do, on a Friday, and I'll have all the notes. I don't know if guys actually scroll down, read the notes, or just look at the
I do.
pictures?
I
Good,
do.
because I always put the notes to show why I picked the books. So thanks. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for coming out, John DeBerry. Ed, always a pleasure, man. Glad for all the support. Dr. Paul, hey, man, we'll talk offline as always, man. There's always stuff to talk about.
Appreciate you having me. Great show.
Cool.